academia with Zara, an actual queen, not a drag queen. I'm just gonna see if I can do this like super informally without having to use a tripod. But I'm like, what can I do this week? What can we experience together? I'm kind of feeling like, let's be smart and let's learn about something in history, and then I don't really know what to learn about. I'm thinking like I want to do something with like history. I want to like read books, but I don't know what it is. I want to research. We're gonna like research and have a story time. I'm gonna take a look to see if there's any interesting people in history. Can I just say, in this process of doing research, it's not going well. I'm typing in things and it's giving me like badass princesses from Disney movies, and there's gotta be some real life ones out there, and that's what we're gonna find. Like, I feel like we should be able to do better than this when we Google search. Let me find some amazing stories that involve princesses, and this is what we're getting. I'm a little upset over it. I've tried to make this like cute little scenario. Everyone's in my bedroom right now. We're in my bedroom reading couch. So today has been an actual learning experience for me. I might include some footage from earlier. What we're gonna do, I'm going to go get into my PJs, get into yours, or get into some comfies, and I'm gonna tell you about this whole woman, queen, and no, it's like an actual queen, not a drag queen, like an actual queen. When I come back in my jammies, I'm going to try my best to be like a history buff, because today I was so academic. She was so academic, and I feel like we need to talk about this, share this story. Before I get into my jammies though and get my tea, start talking about this story, I do want to tell you this. When I started out this morning, I was like, okay, I want to tell a story of some like badass princesses. Like, can we please like discuss some like off the top of my head, like I know a few, like Louise of Belgium. She was like a cool bitch, a woman of the world when there were no women of the world. I was trying to research like stories like that, and every time I would go to like my favorite source, what would come up? It'd be Disney princesses, fictional, like Disney, or it would be our beloved Princess Diana. That's the kind of like I wanted to research a woman like that, but like history, like give me like she's now, well, she obviously she's not now. She was in my lifetime. I wanted to like research somebody that was back in the day. Like before like I was born, before my mom was born, before my grandma was born. That pissed me off. So you know what I did? My aunt's smart, so I called her. My aunt's a powerhouse. She is that woman. Like, she's smart, she's like really good at math, and she's really good at all the TV shows too, like The Price is Right, spelling. Got it. This is the moment I ditched the princess deep dive, because she told me about a queen. Finding out about this queen called Esther. A queen. Happy Purim. It's today. Like, happy Purim. That's why I thought, okay, this is the perfect time. We are going to deep delve into my Jewish history. I am going to go get into my jammies. I'm going to make some hot tea, and we are going to discuss the life of Esther. In the meantime, here are some images of Queen Esther. An academia moment with Zara. Let's say this seriously. An academia moment with Zara. I don't know why I felt like I needed like a comfy moment, like a story time moment, sitting on my couch in my bedroom with some lighting that's not usually here. I think I'm gonna go blind from the ring light, but I did make a cup of tea. I just felt like this needed a story time moment. At this point, I mean, we did research today. I was like a scholar. Before we can talk about any of the women in this story, we have to talk about an idiot. This idiot happened to be the king of Persia. Back in the day, Persia, this king, I believe, ruled from India to Ethiopia, and it was like this huge space, like a mass of land that this king occupied. So he was married to this, I'm gonna say that she would have been like a feminist. Like, didn't know her personally, but from what I've read, she sounds like she'd be one of like my friends. Her name was Queen Vashti. Now, Queen Vashti was a real one. Here's what happened. Here's the drama that happened between Vashti and the king of Persia. The king of Persia was like, okay, going to invite every other princes and like noble people and anyone who's anyone to this party. And we're going to do the do for 7 days. We are literally going to drink and just be fools for 7 days. So for 7 days they partied. By the end of it, he was like, bring me my woman. In the meantime, and in between time, Queen Vashti was doing her own thing. She had her girls over. They were having their own party. And she was like, who wants me? Oh, the king. So what happened was, the king, in his drunken, stupid haze, had sent for Queen Vashti. And it wasn't so she could make him dinner. It was because he wanted to show her off. He wanted to show her off to all the men that was at his like 7-day bender. Some stories that I've read say he wanted her to be naked and just on display. Some people say he just wanted her to dress up and be like a little fierce in her like gold and diamonds and whatnot, and just walk through the court. Vashti said no, nay, I'm not coming. I'm having a moment with my girls. Like, you've been partying for 7 days. I've been partying for 7 days. Now's not the time. They didn't have aspirin or Tylenol back then. She was on it for 7 days too. I wouldn't want to go. So she said, no, I'm not coming. Obviously, this king was pissed because nobody says no to the king. Well, let me tell you, king, Queen Vashti did. And she did. Vashti got basically sent away, exiled, banished. She got told to like basically sit down and go home. So he was on the hunt for a new queen. Apparently Vashti was really beautiful though. Like, I can't imagine it would take like 2 weeks trying to like replace Vashti. And I think that like she was sassy too. I think that this king did like a little sass. Only because what I know about Esther. And I'll get you there. We'll talk about that. I love this quote that I found. So I'm going to read it. It's about Vashti. It was when she wouldn't show up to the party. One of the King Buffoon's buddies, they were pissed too. This is what they said. They said, the queen hath not done wrong to the king, but to all the princes in all the provinces. Basically what he's saying is, the Biss is out of control, and because she's caused a problem for the king, it's gonna mean that all the other women could possibly follow suit and cause problems and not do what their husbands want them to do. Vashti, I applaud you. I mean, if there was going to be a quote written about me, I would want it to basically say the same thing. She's a problem. I'm sure that there's going to be something like that written about me. At this point, Queen Vashti is out. Cue Esther. This is where Esther comes in. Both of Esther's parents passed away. She had a cousin. This cousin was called Mordecai. And Mordecai was like, honey, it's okay. See this? This is my wing, come under it. I'm gonna raise you. You can just call me dad, everything's gonna be cool. So Mordecai was like, hey, Esther, this king is looking for a new queen. Get your ass down to that kingdom. Sign up. It says that she was like 14 at the time. I cannot find anything that will tell me how old this king is. I'm assuming that it was okay back then. It's not okay now, and I don't condone it. Obviously, I'm side-eyeing this king all the way to the end of this story. So she rocks up to the kingdom, and she is not even allowed anywhere near this king for 12 months. She's got to like make herself hot. Basically, she spends 12 months at a spa with a bunch of other girls, getting oils put on them, hair did, nails done. They can choose whatever they want to wear. If they want to put the diamonds on, they can put all the diamonds on. They're literally just pampered princesses, and they're in waiting. I think that they're called ladies in waiting. None of the stories that I read called them ladies in waiting, but basically that's what they were. They were just waiting for their opportunity to snatch that king up. Here's the thing, all the other girls that were there, they would really walk around in like these diamonds and gold. They would be like glitzed up. They would be like Barbara Streisand when she's on Broadway, just glitter and diamonds and just showing off, being the most. Esther was not like that, apparently. That wasn't in her, and she didn't feel comfortable doing that. I don't want to call her basic, but she was more of a natural beauty. That makes me question though, how hungry was she for that crown? Because if that was me, I would have painted myself gold. This king was on the hunt for another wifey. I'm assuming that everyone from India all the way to Ethiopia had somehow got a letter by pigeon, or they didn't have email or text, so they got the information however they received it, and they were like, yeah, I'm a virgin and I think I'm cute enough, so I'm gonna get my ass to the kingdom and we're gonna sign up. I'm gonna sign up and I'm gonna see if I can become queen. In this 12 months, what it was going to lead down to was a beauty contest. So Esther was going to be in this beauty contest, and it was going to take 12 months to prepare for. Excuse me, Miss Universe who? Was there going to be a swimsuit section? The king of Persia, if it was in modern times, was going to be holding like a wet t-shirt contest for the next queen. And that to me is a little bit hysterical. I mean, it is. So while Esther was having spa days, we're gonna have this second dude enter, and his name was Haman, and he was a real asshole. We're just gonna say it how it is. He was an asshole. He did not like Jewish people. And the reason why he didn't like them is because they would not bow down to him or the king. Mostly it was him though, because I think that he would get like a lot of respect from people in like towns, and wherever he went he would get respect, and he would like really abuse his power, so people would bow down to him. But really they wasn't bowing down to him, they were bowing down to the king, but because he was the king's sidekick, he could kind of demand that too. But the Jews, they were like, no, we don't bow down to anyone apart from G-O-D, God. It's not happening. And he did not like this. So he went back to the king of Persia and he was like, look, we're going to bone to pick with these Jews. They're going to do something bad to you because they won't bow down to you. This buffoon of a king was like, oh, you're right. Not like, oh, they can respect me, they don't have to bow down to me. That was never an option. It had to be like, oh, you have to bow to me. The king of Persia was like, yeah, we're going to get rid of him. If they're, what did you say? They're trying to kill me. Oh, they might poison me. Oh, tell me more. Haman. So Haman was just basically feeding him lies. And for no reason, for reason of just wanting to be praised by everybody, but really he didn't even deserve to be praised because he wasn't the king. He just liked, I guess, the attention. He was an attention how. So the king believed him, and then they decided that it would be a good idea to kill all the Jews. Now, we are talking about 127 provinces. India to Ethiopia. That's gonna be a lot of Jewish people. This is when Mordecai found out about this plan that this Haman and the buffoon of a king had going on. He was Jewish, meaning his cousin Esther was Jewish, and she was in the court, she was in the palace. Somehow he managed to get a note to Esther. And she read the note, and it said something along these lines, I can imagine. Girl, you gotta do something. The king's lost his mind. His best friend's lost his mind. And they are gonna kill all of our people. Can you please do something? Please. This is real life and it's happening. And I don't know how to stop this. You're in there. I trust and I believe you can do something about this. So she got this letter, she read this letter, and she panicked, and she wrote back to him, and she said, look, I'm gonna try and do something. I'm gonna do the do. I'm gonna do what I can for my peoples. And I'm gonna read a quote again. And let me tell you this, as I'm trying to find what she did, I did laugh because I felt like it was not realistic, but I did go with it. I went with it. She basically wrote back to her uncle and she said, look, uncle, I got this. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna try my best. But what I need you to do, I need you to gather up all the Jews that you can gather up. Just get them together. And for 3 nights and for 3 days, you're gonna fast. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the girls that I'm with at the spa. And then I'm going in. I'm gonna talk to this king. Now let me tell you this. In the Persian sun, who's fasting for 3 days? Does fasting mean like no water? Because she specifically said, please don't eat or drink for 3 days, and I won't either. If I, like literally, if it's 70 degrees out, if I don't eat or drink anything for 3 days, I'm getting heat stroke. You ain't rocking up to a king with like no sunburnt lips and crust, like being dehydrated. So that's something to think about. Esther sends this back to her cousin, and her cousin's like, we'll do it, I'll do it. So she gets prepared, she gets glossed up, she's like brushing her hair, she got her lip gloss on, she looks good, but she's not dripping in diamonds. She could be, but she's not. She chooses not to be. And the king obviously he has the boys over and he's holding court and they're having a good time. I think they were having some kind of a feast. She puts on her big girl pants and she says, I need to do what I need to do because I don't want people to die. I don't want innocent people to die. I don't want my people to die. She never told anybody she was a Jew. She kept that secret. I'm not quite sure, but I don't think the king himself actually had any hate toward the Jews. So king's having court. She rocks up. She knocks on the door. The door's open. Everybody stops and looks because what she's doing right now is completely inappropriate because you're not even allowed to meet the king as a girl, a woman. She was a girl, she was 14. Unless you've been pampered for 12 months. And let's say she's only been there for 11. Like, it's still not 12 months. And you can't just rock up to a boy's party and just enter. Like, it doesn't work like that. Have you ever even been to an event at a university on student night? It was either Wednesday or Thursday, and all the rugby boys would be having their socials. Like, honestly, you would never want to be a girl that opens a door on a rugby social. You would get moosed out of there. It didn't matter who you was. Like, you don't interrupt. She said, no, I'm doing it. She knocks on the door and the door opens and she says, King, I need to talk to you. And apparently he completely just like fell in love with her natural beauty. She didn't need spa for 12 months. She needed it for 11. She did not need that spa. He absolutely was like, yeah, come talk to me, girl. Sit in my lap. So she went and she spoke to him and she said, look, that Hammond dude, I've heard on the grapevine that he's trying to kill you. And the king was like, yeah, tell me more. She starts just telling him. She tells him what he needs to be told. She also says to him, you like this? Do you like this? And the king's like, yeah, I like that. And she goes, yeah, well, I'm Jewish. Not only does Haman want to be done with you, he wants to get rid of you, he also wants to get rid of all my people. And my people are the Jewish people. So can we fix that, please? Can we do something about this? He goes, what in the what now? So he finds out that this Haman is just a really horrible person. And he finds out just the truth, really, that he's a dick. I mean, he's just a dick. He wants to kill the king. He wants to kill the Jews. And this little 14-year-old whose parents had passed away, both of them, who was raised by a cousin, made to go into a palace and live a spa life. At 14 years old, she got up enough courage to go knock on a door that she should not have knocked on. She risked her life. And when I say she risked her life, like, you were not allowed to do what she had done. And for that, Haman's game was over. Like, his game was over. I believe he got, like, his head on the pitch that he had made for the king. For his head, the king had obviously found out about it. Esther did become queen, even though it was to a buffoon. Like, I feel like every buffoon needs a good queen. Queens need courage. And she had that courage. She sacrificed her own life and she had the courage to knock on that door. And I feel like as women, we all need courage. And maybe we can learn a little something off of Esther. I think that my favorite part of the story, other than all the Jews getting to live and not be persecuted and killed, is that Esther and her cousin got all of Haman's realty, his assets, his checkbook, his banking account. They got that assets. The king said, "You done." Haman was cancelled. Mordecai and Esther got it all. And I just, like, that, is that not a happy ending? If that's not a happy ending, like, if that's not a, like, we're story time. Let me get my tea. Like, if that's not a story time happy ending, I don't know what is. He got his head on a stick, and the people that he was trying to ruin got his shit. That's a good ending. That's a real Disney ending. Love that for them.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
I'm going to record this conversation making a video.
Oh, for God's sake.
I needed a hobby in quarantine. I was trying to find some, like, really cool, like, princesses from Europe to do a story on. Everything that I kept on finding was Disney princess fairy tale.
Well, it's about time you put your education to work.
I said,
right?
Yeah, right? I said, Elaine,
that was a good party period, right?
Well, yeah, it was. So I called Elaine and I say, Elaine, can you please, like, I'm looking online, can you please tell me about some, like, Jewish, like, princesses? This is the most funniest thing. She says to me, Sarah, there are none. And I'm like, no, there has to be a Jewish princess. And she said, well, that's like asking if there's any American princesses. Unless they married in to royalty, there are none. However, today is Purim.
Purim, yeah.
And I said, Queen Esther said, what's Purim? And she said, do some research on Queen Esther.
I got the Bible out too, and you'll probably get the Bible when I've gone. I've had it 73 years. I got it on my 10th birthday, so I've had my Bible. I just put some Scotch tape down the back because the door.
Oh, it's the Old Testament, though, right? Because the Jewish people.
Yes, just the Old Testament, nothing else.
So yesterday I did all this research on good old Esther. I wanted to talk to you to see if I could get some of your thoughts and opinions. In my opinion, Vashti was the real hero. I feel like Vashti walked so Esther could run. Because if it wasn't for Vashti being sassy and saying no, Esther wouldn't have even had a chance.
No. Right, but by the same token, she did good. She did good.
No, she saved more than like millions of Jews, because at that time the buffoon of a king was in charge of 100
all the way through
Ethiopia to India, right? So Have you had any, like, experiences, like, with Purim? What does Purim mean to you?
Oh, it's just part. It's, you know what, Purim, unfortunately, is. I mean, I know a lot of people that have had Purim parties last night. They had parties to celebrate Purim, as you hear us and Esther, you know?
Yeah.
So I've got my Bible open at Esther, the book of Esther, and I'm going to go to the end of it, the book of Esther, because all the other stuff is... Then Esther the Queen, the daughter of Abihail and Mordecai, and actually was her uncle.
It was
her uncle.
Okay.
It was her. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter. Okay?
Yeah.
So he took her for his daughter. This is out of the Jewish Bible, the Jewish version of the Old Testament. And let's see, what have we got? Then Esther the Queen, the daughter of Abihail and Mordecai the Jew, wrote down all the facts of power to confirm this second letter of Purim. And he sent letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with the words of peace and truth to confirm these days of Purim in their appointed times, according to Mordecai the Jew and Esther the Queen, and enjoined them, and as they had ordained for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fast and the cry. I mean, it goes on and on. It's very hard, but you need to read a Jewish Old Testament, and eventually you will have this, because in the middle of this book there's a breakdown of some of the people that were and weren't, and like all the deaths and the births, etc. And I managed to put them. Actually, the last one I put in there for the verse was yours.
So what my plan to do with this like series, like kind of like a story time, and honestly, Grandma, like I'm not a scholar and I can only tell it in the way that I know how, which is like how I speak. And I mean, if we're all being honest right now, she doesn't really have the like language of a scholar. It's, I mean, a valley girl, yes.
It's the way, well, actually, what it needs is your feelings on it, your take on it.